Tickets for less. Best seats, best prices, no service fees. Shop ticketsforless.com. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone.
All right, here we go. Welcome back. More of the Connor Happer Show here on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. The 360 cam is going, although Gary and I kind of look, Gary, we look like, I don't know, we're going into the light or something like that. We're all here, though. Everybody has a microphone in front of their face. Say hello, everybody.
Hello. Hello, everybody.
That's good.
Hello.
Everybody comfortable?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
John, you sound great.
You have a tablecloth.
John, what have you been smoking?
Well, why don't you?
What have I been smoking?
Got a couple packets of Marlboros on the way up?
Yeah, some Old Golds. A couple of unfiltered Cools.
Some Pall Malls.
Good stuff.
Yeah, he's doing a little bit of yelling at night these days.
I know.
It wasn't much yelling. It wasn't that much yelling.
Some P-Funks.
No, it's that beautiful time of year we call allergy season.
Yes, of course it is.
Good time.
Well, it's time to talk spring football because that's why we're here.
It is why we're here.
It is why we're here.
I thought we were here to talk about allergy season.
Well,
what about the Friday night basketball game? We could talk about that.
Allergies are a part of spring football.
They
Players
are?
have to go through the allergies while they're trying to practice.
Nebraska won,
football.
Creighton nothing. Take that. Nebraska got the game moved.
I
right.
don't
Now
get why
let's talk about
Nebraska
red and white.
wins that.
Just keep it moving. All right. I told you earlier, it's the small victories.
No rebuttal for John.
Interesting.
I'm fine with it, though. I would have liked to have, taken up another challenge of not watching the game or not spoiling anything and getting home like I did last year. That would have been fun.
That would have been fun.
We pulled it off.
There'll be a lot of people doing that tomorrow, Saturday in the spring game.
Maybe.
Nice.
Yeah.
So spring football. Dylan Raiola.
Yes.
Yeah.
He'll be there.
He'll be there. He's not going to get tackled on
No.
Saturday, though.
No.
We don't want that anyway.
The question that I've been asking some of our guests this week is how many times does he throw the football? How many times does he drop back and throw the football? Jeff
Let's
Sims
create a
had
number.
13 attempts last year.
Let's create a number.
Mm-hmm.
What if I started at 10?
At 10?
Yeah.
Higher.
Over or under?
Whoa.
Whoa. We got really
I'm
teeny
going to
on
say, you're going to go 10?
What if we just start? I want to discuss it with you.
Do
guys.
17.
17.
Under.
So we're in between 10 and 17.
I think he'll be at 11 or 12. I think he'll be fewer than Jeff Sims, but just barely.
What did Sims have last year?
13.
13?
You passed the ball 13 times.
There's something wrong with you, the fact that you know how many passes.
I looked it up. I know.
You should have given yourself up.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
gotta let go of that memory.
Yeah.
I'll go higher than 13.
It started then, too.
Yeah, you will?
Yeah, I'll go higher than 13.
So we're setting the
15.
Whoa.
Yeah, 15.
Did you give a number, Happer?
Well, I started at 10, but I'll go with. I like 15. 15
hit the over?
Good.
I think they're going to showcase the quarterbacks, and they're going to let them throw it around the yard. So that's why I think it's higher.
Yeah, because there's no contact,
Showcase some wide receivers.
People are coming to see the quarterbacks,
Yep.
and so Rule is smart enough that he's going to let the quarterbacks do quarterback things, and they'll probably chuck it around a little bit.
I would agree. Because it ended up being like 2-to-1, I think, run-pass ratio last year in the spring game.
Oh, okay.
Really?
Yeah. And I looked that one up, Gary. I did not know that off the top of my
I
head.
wanted to get into like Titus Brothers and Mike Dems.
Yeah, we can go back. Previous spring game.
Riley Washington.
Chris Butler.
Chris Butler. There's a good one. Ooh. Yeah, the history of the spring game, the legends of the spring game.
Oh.
We should do instead, they've given up the whole drug-free pledge. Instead, they ought to just parade people
They
out
should
at
welcome
halftime.
them, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for
where's Breon Carnes?
The legends
Retire
of the
their
spring game.
game jerseys with the 3 stripes on the shoulders. Send them up to the rafters.
Would Breon
How
Carnes
long
give
was
a
that
standing
run by Bobby Newcomb the one year? Wasn't that like 90?
Yeah.
89 or 90.
Yeah.
That was the first play of the
87 maybe?
spring game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember if it was the first play, but it was early.
It was early.
Yeah. And that was one of the first televised ones, as I recall.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
People lost their mind.
Did
Oh,
you
my
announce
God.
that game?
No,
Okay.
no.
I was talking with Jack
I
this
did the
week.
one the year. I think I did the one the year after.
Was that on pay-per-view?
No, it was on Channel 10.
That's so wild.
That's awesome.
Channel 10 in Lincoln.
There are some great moments. Like, I don't know, as much of it just is fun now. There are like some of the best moments about spring football. So they used to, when Pavelka was doing the games, John will remember this.
Yeah.
They used to bring in like reporters to hop on for a quarter. And Ken Hamilton came in And this is the before the 95 spring game.
Okay.
The 95 season, the spring game before then. So Ken Hamilton's in the booth, and he's just, if you guys know Ken, he's lighthearted, very sarcastic. Pavelka is focused. Man, he's like the red versus the white. This is a big game. Nobody's changing sides.
Right.
So Hamilton wanted to do play-by-play. And so he goes, down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. And Kent lost it. He was like, he covered his microphone up and he goes, you can't say that.
It's like winning time.
It was.
Turn, don't talk.
It was.
And then there was, you might have been doing stats or a spotting. There was like a guy that came in to do it for the Big Ten Network that hasn't been back, that I guess was super serious and didn't realize that it basically turned into, let's interview Amon Green on the sidelines and all that. And the play-by-play guy was not happy at all because he was like, I'm here to do a job.
I wanted to call this game. It's a very important football game.
He wanted to use it to try to get another gig down the road. Check out my spring game tape.
This is my reel.
Could be the stepping stone.
Exactly.
Could be the stepping stone. It's on BTN, right?
Yes.
This weekend.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who's doing the game?
I'm assuming Putney.
Yeah, Putney usually does
Putney and Kenny Bell and somebody else.
Damon?
No, he's on radio.
He's on radio
He's
now.
got a face for radio.
Oh,
I can't remember the third one.
Kenny Bell.
Yeah,
Nice.
Kenny Bell and Larry Putney.
Is it someone who's done stuff recently? Do you know? Like a player?
I didn't recognize the name.
Could be
Really?
could be Tommy Frazier back down on the sideline.
That would be that would be good.
Back up to you in the booth.
Nice. All right, so we got the broadcast part of it done.
We got that
We
done.
do.
The important part of the round table.
Broadcast history,
Yeah.
Legends of the Spring Game.
So what if, like, we know it's a practice and he's solidified himself as QB1. What if we have a rough Saturday for number 15?
I don't think I care that much.
I don't know if it could happen. I mean, there's no contact.
See, that's why I think they're not going to throw the ball around a lot. I don't think that they're going to even go into that area to try to do that.
Rule said today, he said the word shootout as far as what he
Expect.
I think they're going to throw it around a little.
So how about, let me throw this at you. And Gary, I do not have the exact numbers, but one of the Tristan Gebbia years, I think the 2017 spring game, he threw the ball like 30-something times.
Yeah.
We knew he wasn't going to be the starter. It was going to be Tanner Lee, so they were like, have him and just chuck the ball around. What if Kalen's like that? What if Kalen throws the ball around a ton? And so oddly, then people leave like, oh, maybe they really like this Daniel, or maybe it's just one of the walk-ons. Wokey, Watchy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Wokey.
Is it-
I've heard it said 3 different times.
Yeah.
Different
I like
ways.
calling him woke.
Yeah.
He's woke.
Yep.
Jack
Nebraska goes woke. It could be the headline in the World Herald.
We were just talking about this the other day. Jarrett Sinek, he was the stud a couple of years ago.
Mhm.
So you're going to have that obscure quarterback that's going to all of a sudden lead the drive, and it's going to get everybody into
See,
it.
that's what's
hey, where's this guy on the depth chart?
Yeah, but you don't want that. In this case, you don't actually want that.
Yeah, because you want the other guys to show out first.
Maybe
Like,
Harburg
okay,
will just throw it around a million times. That'd be hilarious.
So
It seems inconsequential.
it
You
does.
can do that.
But I think they will try and show everybody that Harburg can throw the football and what he looks different. Like, I think there's a little bit of rule. We'll try and I hear what you're saying, so I'm going to show you.
Mhm.
And they'll let, like, Dylan improvise a little bit and be Patrick Mahomes' kid out there throwing, crazy throws, and people will lose their mind. But I think Harburg will be a guy that they kind of showcase throwing the football to say, hey, he looks different. You guys crushed him last year.
Yeah.
Look how he looks different. And, oh, by the way, he might be our backup guy so we can redshirt one guy.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, I think they're going to put him in the best position to succeed.
I would think so too.
And now, did he announce? He hasn't announced rosters yet,
no.
and how they're going to divvy things up. I mean, would it surprise you if Dylan played mostly second and third team defenders, or Heinrich Harburg at some point? I mean, not the entire game, but at least during certain series where it's like, all right, here's a series we would really like to highlight Heinrich. Here's a series we'd really like to highlight Dylan. Here's a series we'd really like to highlight.
They'll
Caleb.
probably do the best they can to make sure at the end of the day everybody feels the same about all three of those guys.
Yes.
I agree. Yeah.
Because that's kind of how they framed it up this spring.
Yeah.
Even though we all kind of know that, Dylan
I mean, there's a good chance Dylan could have one really amazing athletic play, that people are just going to lock on. People are going to go into this already with, whatever
notions.
preconceived notion they have of
Bingo.
this is what this guy does. This is what this guy does.
Yeah.
So they're going to try to find something to fit that narrative. So people are going to have their takes on it anyway.
Okay, so that's one thing that they could showcase, or a couple things they could showcase. Is there anything they might want to hide in the spring game? I mean, he talked about before how they want to be vanilla and all. It's going to be on TV.
Well, remember defensively
is there any
last year.
position group or thing that they want to hide?
Are you asking from a positive or a negative tinge?
Negative?
Yeah, like that they're like, we don't want this to be known that this kind of stinks right now.
Yes, that's what I'm asking.
Well, running back would be the obvious.
Yeah. I think that's where my head goes.
Yeah, me too.
Well, defensively last year, remember the 3-3-5? Everybody wanted to get an idea of what that looked like. They didn't show any of that. I mean, there was more forefronts than anything. You had more four-down linemen than you had in a 3-3-5. So that was something that was completely vanilla, completely basic. So I don't think from a standpoint of tipping your hand a lot in this, I think it's just going to be vanilla with a lot of it. I think with the offense, and I'm with you, Josh, I think the running back situation is one that is still a work in progress that I don't know how much of that you're really going to be showcasing with the guys that will actually factor in.
So do you hide that by just not running the ball a whole lot?
Well, they don't have a lot of guys to run the ball. That's
Right.
the only thing as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
So maybe that's an easy way to hide it.
Yeah. So we're going to showcase all
So
these
again, it
quarterbacks.
leans back into the idea of
Throwing the ball
throwing
around.
the
Okay,
ball.
I'm upping the number.
All right, now we're going
Dylan-
to 22.
Yeah, Dylan throws. We're up to 19 or 20 now. All of a sudden. It might be 20 apiece. I don't know. They'll just throw it around the yard, and then everybody will think that
Hey,
they're
Zach
air raid
Taylor,
offense.
357.
Oh my God!
Didn't he throw for 357 yards in a spring game?
How many passes did he
05
throw?
spring game.
Yes. I think he threw for 357 yards.
I hope that you're right.
That would be so.
Oh my gosh, you're right. Good Lord, Gary.
That's embarrassing.
You made fun of me
It
for
is-
saying he threw 13 passes.
Okay, I will. Yes, it is embarrassing that I know that
That's
number.
19 years ago.
God.
It was a spring game record. Oh, in one half, Gary. 357 in the first half to power. I'm just going to read the sentence. To power the Whites. To power the Whites. To a 42-14 win over the Reds.
Wow.
Wow. And because of that, they had a couple good receiving days.
Yeah.
So, Gary, you should know this then. How many yards did Isaiah Llewellyn have?
Oh.
So he hit him on a long touchdown. 106.
Oh, my God.
Are you serious?
106 exactly.
Oh, my God.
Oh, I know. I
Wow.
didn't do
It's 106.
106 yards.
Catches
Oh,
for 106
okay.
yards.
Open the window and in Llewellyn.
Nice. Terrence Nunn had 133, by the way.
Terrence Nunn.
that. Well, that was then you remember the spring game the year before was Joe Daly, and people lost
Yes.
their mind.
Yeah.
Right.
They did.
They had all
Joe
that
Daly in the West
shifting
Coast offense.
But okay, so
Oh,
here's another. Okay, you remember
Joe Daly went 7 for 20 in the 05 spring game, by the way.
he was 7 for 20?
He's 7 for
Joe
20.
Gans went 1 for 4.
Yeah.
Where are you guys going to find
Husker
this?
Max, baby. John, you know the
You know
website.
about Husker Max.
Yeah, but I mean, is this like a special spring game page?
Yes.
You just Google it.
Yeah.
It takes you right to it.
HuskerMax.com/game/2005 spring game
game.
football.
Oh
and some
my.
dashes
Dash
in there.
game,
God.
dash football.
Yeah.
This is so embarrassing.
Yep.
Should we go to the next year? I mean, should we go to like 2000?
How did Zach Taylor do in his second year?
Well, the second one, I think that was when that was right before Harrison Beck left the team, right? Or did he not leave until the fall? When did Harrison Beck leave Nebraska? Because
He got in the Kansas State game that year. That
in the 05 season.
In 05 he
Yeah.
did.
But then
Yeah.
he didn't. So he didn't play in the spring game in 06. So I wonder.
He was
I think he might have been hurt. Like my brother, we were on the sidelines because I was doing some videography stuff, and like he was walking to the tunnel. My brother goes, "Good job, Harrison." He slapped him on his shoulder, and someone at Nebraska was like, "What are you doing? Don't touch his shoulder."
I thought he was going to go, "Oh!"
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, speaking of injuries, it is pretty. They haven't had any
Oh, boy.
like injuries that have happened during 14 practices,
No, they have not.
and they've been
At least not that they've said.
they've been at times pretty physical and tackling.
Yep.
That's like if they get through Saturday, which that will be like the biggest thing is they haven't had any injuries of note, because we at least have one a year in spring,
Right.
where it might not knock the guy out for the year, but it's an injury that we all talk about on the air, and you go, wow, I wonder how that's going to impact that particular room.
Yeah, because Maverick Noonan was in spring, right? Yep.
They're
That was-
also
that was the big one.
load managing basically everybody who's
Yeah, they
Yeah,
are.
that's
Because there's some veterans that are like,
Yeah, I think offensive linemen and defensive linemen won't. There's some key guys will not play.
Yeah, I mean Ty Robinson.
Did he say they'd get a minimum of one play?
He said they might play a couple plays.
Yeah,
Yeah, they might play
at
some
least
plays.
one.
Might play some plays.
But don't you guys, if you're going to this, and I think we've all done a good job of tampering down that this is not, this is what it is aren't you going to the game and you wanted to see young players? What do we do when we get to like November 1? We're asking veterans, hey, what young guys look really, really good in practice or some of these scrimmages? I'm going to the spring game on Saturday. I want to see the young players play. I want to see, Ja'Cory Barney. I want to see Bly Hill is a relatively new guy, but like freshmen that you haven't seen, or guy like Grant Bricks.
Yeah.
I want to see him play a ton of snaps at tackle.
No, you're going to get that. I mean, and that's where the effort is going to come from. Not that the other guys won't be giving effort, but let's face it, they know what it is. It's not a serious scrimmage. But yeah, those younger guys who are going to get the opportunity to come in and maybe make an impression and one day be part of a roundtable conversation about legends of the spring game. I mean, this is going to be their opportunity. This is their chance to shine. I'm sure their families will be there. It'll be exciting for them.
Transfers too.
The Brody Belt Award.
Yeah, well, so they'll Banks and Nay will play a little bit. I mean, they'll probably play a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Jamal Banks is on your top 5 list of guys you want to see.
Yep.
Definitely.
Probably. Yeah.
Definitely.
I mean, how about Dowdell?
We were talking about him earlier today.
Just to get a look, because there hasn't been any buzz about him, any conversation.
Yeah,
well, I wonder if that's one of those players that might be hidden.
They hide a little bit.
So this is a good conversation starter at a good roundtable. I asked Nick this today. When it was February and we were all submitting Super 6 and we were talking about what spring would look like, he was one guy we talked about a lot.
Yep.
Is there any other player that your opinion has changed a little bit the opposite way on a player more than Dowdell in spring?
No.
Ooh,
nope.
Negatively,
yeah. He is the easy answer.
And it's mainly because he hasn't been talked about much.
Right.
yeah.
And it's unlike
what he has,
Dylan
it's been really skimmed over.
Yeah, and unlike Dylan Raiola, where that was purposeful, because I didn't need to, this is not that.
I probably wasn't as high on him as most were in the first place, but still, I mean, I expected to hear more, especially in a room that theoretically is open.
By the way, Gary, he was 5th overall in the Super 6 composite on 24/7.
Yeah.
He was only behind Raiola, Carter Nelson, Grant Bricks, and Caleb Benning.
Oh, I got one.
Okay.
It's another transfer, Stephon Thompson.
Yep.
Who
that's
may
a name
have,
that we barely
who
talked
may
about.
have come along a little bit over the last couple of weeks because you've just heard his name more. But in Mazuka too.
Yeah. And I think the reason that's changed, Dowdell, it's not as if they've talked about Dowdell the way that they've talked about Mazuka and Stephon Thomas, because of the fact that those guys, it's been made public by either Tony White or by Matt Rule that they still got a lot to figure out.
Yeah.
I haven't really heard that with Dowdell he's still got a lot to figure out. They've just kind of skimmed over him when he's been brought up.
Maybe they figured it out. And what they figured out is not good. I don't know.
And I don't know if that expectation with those other guys, just because of the experience they bring in, they're holding them at a higher level. They're going to be more public about what they need to accomplish.
We are trained to, because this is how it's been, when they get transfers, they turn out to be very, very vital, important players. And maybe we need to retrain our brains and say, oh, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world that these guys come in and they're not immediately Nebraska's best players.
Yeah.
Like that, I think that is an overarching thing of the spring that is positive. Like that's a good thing. That it hasn't necessarily been easy for Mazuka or Stephon Thompson or Dante Dowdell to come in and be really impactful
The
players.
thing about Mazuka is he just came from a program in the SEC where he started 11 games.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
He also tried to fight somebody.
you wanted to pencil him in. Boy, they are not hesitant in calling him out.
Which is very interesting. I think it's it's definitely a motivational tactic.
His brother has had a better spring. Maurice has had a better spring than Micah. And Maurice
might get a lot of touches tomorrow.
Here's
or
fantasy spring game tip. Maurice Mazuka may be that guy.
John, get that on your board for your fantasy
Play
spring game.
all
My
4
fantasy
quarters, both sides of the ball, run the ball, catch the ball.
Should we do the fantasy spring game thing? I don't even know how it would work. We want to suss it out when we.
You got to get a guy that you think is going to rack up some fantasy points for you. Who's going to
We have 36 minutes left in the
end.
roundtable, Happer. We're running out of time to even figure out the rules of this.
Better jump on it.
Yeah.
All right, let's take our first break here on the roundtable. You're listening to our spring game roundtable live from Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill. Come out and join us for lunch, 173rd and Center. Good specials going on as well. $7 burgers until 3. And then if you're in the dinner crowd, $3 margs and Mexican beers and $2 tacos.
Nice.
Starting at 5. Back with more from Oscars next on 1620 The Zone.
Previously on Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
She has left a mark on the college game that no one else can ever claim.
A big part of her story isn't that she went to Iowa and she didn't go to South Carolina. She didn't go to UConn. That was great for the sport.
The only time I'm watching is if one of the local teams is playing. She made you want to watch, but you also could sit there and appreciate the greatness and how she changed the way the game looked on the floor.
Unsportsmanlike Conduct with John Bishop and Josh Peterson. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV News Watch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Cloudy and windy for your Thursday afternoon with a high today into the low to mid 60s. Gusts out of the southeast possible up to 30 to 40 miles an hour with scattered showers and storms, especially overnight tonight and into early Friday. A low of 55 degrees by tomorrow morning. Showers wrap up for a bit for your Friday late morning, early afternoon with a 60% chance of storms with severe weather likely Friday afternoon. I'm meteorologist Caitlin Harvey with KETV News Watch 7.
Make the right call. John Higgins Weather Guard, the home of the Wolverines.
You're thinking about the summer season, but have you thought about storm season? Have no fear. John Higgins Weather Guard is here. For roofing, siding, and gutter repair, make the right call to John Higgins Weather Guard.
John Higgins Weather Guard, the home of the Wolverines. Make the right call.
Let's go on a fishing trip you will be talking about for years. The best walleye fishing trip ever. Join me, Crash Davis. We're going to travel to the walleye capital of the world, September 15th through the 19th aboard a deluxe motor coach. Travel with me to Ballard's Resort on Lake of the Woods. Pricing includes round-trip motor coach transportation, 4 nights lodging, 3 days of fully guided walleye fishing, and all of our meals. Go fishing with me, Crash. Your best trip ever. Sign up at ballardsresort.com. ballardsresort.com and set the hook.
When you get nachos, tacos, empanadas, spicy queso with jalapenos, Pepto-Bismol's there. Pepto-Bismol provides fast, effective relief from nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, and diarrhea. All the things that can happen unexpectedly on vacation. So before you travel, pack the Pepto. Pepto-Bismol.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Is this house a good price compared to others in the area? Are prices going up or down? If I don't make an offer right this very moment, will I miss my chance? These are just some of the questions a home buyer might ask. And these are the sorts of questions an agent who is a Realtor can help answer. Because Realtors have the expertise, data, and access to specialty training to help you navigate the process of buying a home. They provide support, guidance, and have your back every step of the way. That's what Realtors do, because that's who we are. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Thinking about gas mileage. You know, changing your oil with a full synthetic oil like Valvoline Advanced can help your engine get more miles. Right now, you can get 5 quarts with an STP Extended Life oil filter for only $35.99. Get started on your next job today with the parts you need when you need them at AutoZone or AutoZone.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
What's holding you back from learning the language you've always wanted to speak?
Too hard.
Takes too long.
Not with Babbel. Babbel's lessons take just 10 minutes a day.
10 minutes isn't long.
Nope. And they're fun.
Fun isn't hard.
Right. Babbel's interactive lessons, podcasts, games, and more make languages fun and engaging. You might even forget you're learning. And Babbel's lessons are built around real life. Babbel teaches language skills you'll actually use. About travel, business, relationships, and more. You'll learn what matters most to you. Plus, Babbel's lessons are designed to get you having real conversations in as little as 3 weeks.
Just 3 weeks? Even better.
Since Babbel's lessons are voiced by real native speakers, you'll get pronunciation just right and be able to carry on conversations with confidence.
Learning a language with Babbel doesn't take long.
And with Babbel, it isn't hard.
It's perfect.
Get Babbel. It starts here. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Duck Defense Midwest makes your home healthier and improves the life of your HVAC system. So improve the health of your home and everyone in it. Go to cleanairradio.com for a special duct cleaning offer for Zone listeners. That's cleanairradio.com.
Do you like to shoot fireworks? Would you like to get paid to shoot fireworks? J&M Displays wants you. Help shoot an Omaha Storm Chasers game, Memorial Park display, or any of the major shows in Western Iowa and all of Nebraska. If you like to travel, J&M covers Nebraska, Kansas, and most of Missouri. They offer free training and great daily pay rates, which makes it a perfect part-time job. Visit jnmdisplays.com and click the Join Our Team tab to find out more. J&M Fireworks.
All right, welcome back. More of the spring game roundtable, or the spring roundtable. I guess we probably talked a lot about the spring game. Now we can talk about just the spring.
Showers,
Everybody's
bring May
here.
flowers.
Yeah, but I mean, like Nebraska football in the spring, not like what the weather's like.
Well, thanks for the clarification.
According to Josh, it'll be 40 in Portland this weekend, which is nice. Which is like 60.
Yes, mid to high 40s, so it's like mid to high 60s, John.
Anyone going to die?
I hope not.
Okay.
That'd be a bummer.
That would be.
If it gets up to 60.
If it gets up to 60, then people will be
Well,
dying.
the Lincoln Marathon, I feel horrible for my brothers and sisters running in that one. It's going to be in the 70s. It's going to be horrible. John will probably be out there.
It's early in the morning.
That sounds horrible.
It's already going to be 70 in the morning.
It's going to get there during the race. Yeah, it's going to be pretty bad.
When is that? So I know when not to
a
go.
week from Sunday.
It got up there last
So
year.
I'll know when to stay home.
Yeah.
Well, they're going to be all over town.
I feel like John's going to go out there and like talk trash to him.
Are you?
This
No, no. Marathon day, I stay home.
You going to
man.
pass out Jello shots?
Oh,
Yeah, I should.
You should, John. That people would like you. Give people old style.
Well, they take over the whole town. You can't even move.
Don't you bring out your home karaoke system and like heckle
No.
runners as they come by?
This is stupid.
What the hell are you doing?
Dumb.
Why are you doing this?
You paid for this.
People pay for that?
People pay for
Yeah, you
that.
gotta pay to
Like
get
they
in.
pay for the spring game.
Wow.
That's right.
Oh, good tie-in.
Boy,
But-
which could be
But
worse?
they are paying a lot of money this year.
They are. The ticket prices went up.
Yep, and even 18 and under is $5.
Sad.
I've seen a lot of ads on my social media feed.
They are everywhere.
Buy tickets to the spring
I have
game.
never
Yeah.
seen that kind of spam for this
Very
before.
interesting.
They live in us.
So you
They know.
get the first year head coach bump.
Yep.
I am a little surprised that they've only sold 54,000. I know there's the
Really?
weather and the walk up.
I'm surprised they haven't sold less.
Well,
Like,
because
why do we have to care?
Because you still
The
have the
QB1
element of
bump.
the quarterback.
Why do we have
Yeah,
to care?
QB1
Like people
bump.
want to go see the quarterback.
I guess so, but is that worth 60,000 people just because they want to
I
see
don't
Dylan Raiola?
Frost-
Watch him on TV.
Frost may have ruined it for people on the 1 year where
Oh.
he ticked off his AD because they didn't even. It didn't. I don't
Dude.
know what that was.
Was that the last one?
First half
Yeah.
of FUD.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Two-hand
that was the last
touch.
one.
Yeah.
Yep. It was windy as all
Yeah.
could be that day too.
No, I think the appeal is it's falling amongst the rank and file fans. Forget
That's
about
okay.
what we think about it, but I think among rank and file fans, I don't think it matters as much.
Well, yeah, going back to what Gary just said. A decade ago, a 5-star quarterback is an automatic sellout. And I think it's an automatic sellout within a couple of weeks, if that.
Yeah.
And now, like you just said, I'm surprised it's not less.
Yeah.
It just says how the view – I really do think the view of the spring game has changed a lot in the last
Okay.
decade. And I always go
So-
back to the Team Jack one. Like,
Yeah.
and that was a super cool moment. But I always think of Michael Severe, who bet on it. And he was like, wait, I'm going to lose my bet because of this. They counted it. It was in the stat.
Bet on the spring game? What's wrong with that?
that's a true degenerate. Right?
That is
True
degenerate.
degenerate.
I'll go look at that one on Husker Max for us.
Yeah. Hoffman had what?
Well,
42 on that post?
Fish, I know that you
Hit the
like
over.
the comparison of spring game attendance.
Yes.
What do you call it?
Well, it's what goofy brag season basically.
Yes.
Goofy brag
So
season.
Ohio State was 80,000,
80,000. Michigan only had 31.
which actually is pretty high.
And that weather looked
They
like
don't-
garbage.
Yeah, they don't usually draw very well.
No. Neither does Penn State. By the way, the Jack Hoffman run is in the official stats. I mean,
It
it's
is.
all
How
there.
many yards was it?
One carry, 69 yards.
69
Nice.
yards.
About
That's a-
that,
that's a
right?
solid
Take that, Bobby
average.
Too
Newcomb.
soon.
So, yeah.
I don't know why it's waned. Maybe that's something.
I
we
think
could talk
television
about.
has heard it.
Yeah, definitely.
Because not only because you could watch it on your own time, record it, play it back, but also the 11 o'clock kickoff.
Yeah.
It's funny how, we complain all year long about, these 11 o'clock kickoffs, I hate them. And then what does Nebraska do? They put in a spring game at 11. I realize Big Ten Network probably had something to do with that.
Yeah.
But if Nebraska really pushed, they could say, no, we're doing this at 1 or 2 or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they were hoping to have a bump with the baseball game afterwards. You got
Right.
the full day in Lincoln, but it's just for what you may not see out of the spring game. You get in the car, you do the drive down there, you do the parking thing down there, you get in, you're trying to get out, then you start thinking to yourself, what am I truly pulling away from this experience right now?
Yeah. And how many people leave after the first half?
Yeah.
You know?
Like, am I going to sit around and watch the spring game heroes?
Another reason
I'll hear about
to
it
bring
later.
back the Say No to Drugs pledge.
Exactly.
Keep the kids.
You got to stay at least through halftime then.
I kind of thought we were trending down the line of like this is going to be spring game wars. Like they're gonna start scrimmaging each other. You know, like Nebraska will play Kansas or something like. Like I thought we were trending that way for a while.
And now it seems like we're going in the exact opposite.
Because coaches, because the one thing you can control about a spring game, if it's just you versus you can control everything.
Yeah.
You bring in another team, you can't control anything. I mean, you can try like NFL teams do in training camp. All right, we're not going to do this. We're not going to do that. All it takes is one rogue person to go off course, and then everything changes. Plus, you don't want the takes. Anyway, if Kansas came up here, let's say, and their spring game, they beat Nebraska.
Let's say they took it a little more seriously.
Right.
You know.
Then all of a sudden, you've got the take machine for 4 months going, yeah, but remember what Kansas did to us?
So how about this in tempering down the enthusiasm? Is the portal is open. So there are more schools that are saying, we don't really need a spring game. Let's do it closed. It's the 15th practice because they don't want other schools watching and recruiting your players.
Yeah. I mean, that's
because that's going to happen.
Sure it is.
That is an element.
Isn't that wild then, Gary? So we always will say the spring game is meaningless, and yet coaches would be like, I might learn a thing or two. Look at that guy.
Right. It's kind of backwards.
Yeah.
I mean, especially in how, what you were saying, John, Rule doesn't necessarily strike me as a guy who cares if the take machine is, but yet all these precautions are sort of kind of, being carefully.
You talked about it today, how he brought up the 99-yard drives now. There's now 2 drives.
Right. Yes.
2 drives.
Magically, there were 2.
Yeah. So he's obviously listening. So
it's very, I mean, they're going to be very careful, I think, about what they show. That goes into the lack of excitement, I think, for it as well. On top of the transfer portal, like Gary said, it's just, I mean,
we got to go back to varsity versus alumni.
But here's the thing.
It's amazing that they used to do that, especially back in a time where there was no such thing as thudding or half pad or anything. It was like, and they didn't have as much equipment, so they just went right out and just waylaid on each other.
I'm also not saying this is a bad thing. I don't care that the energy for it has waned. Like, what does it mean? It doesn't mean anything. It's not a reflection of your program.
Has Iowa ever done a spring game?
Probably they have, but they now just call it a practice.
Right. But I mean, they
so
don't.
Their 15th is like a true practice.
Yeah, they don't do like a black and gold game.
Now, did they used to do that at a high school in Iowa?
They would do one of their spring practices. They go to Des Moines.
That's right.
And so they've always done like the final one at Kinnick Stadium. But yeah, like last Saturday, it basically was guys just running position drills.
Yeah.
And people could go get a look at McNamara and
you could see Diekman.
Yeah. And then you were out.
And then
Maybe that's how we're trending. Was gone. Huh? Maybe that's how we're trending. Maybe that's where we're headed.
Well, okay. So is that a good thing for college football? Because essentially the 2 games you play could be a meaningless bowl game and then a spring game.
Which becomes meaningless spring game.
What are more likely to have hot takes out of them? A bowl game that a bunch of guys are sitting out, or a spring game where a bunch of guys are sitting out?
Oh, a bowl game. I mean, a bowl game is more important than a spring game. A bowl game's a game.
It is, but
it is
spring you might be seeing some new guys for the first time where you could all of a sudden overhype
Ohio State looked more excited to play their spring game than they did the Cotton Bowl.
Give me a break. You got a football game against another team. You got to play the game.
Depending on who's playing in that bowl game.
No, it does not depend.
If you had a
on
bunch of opt-outs,
you can make it whatever conversation you want for what it means for that team for that year. But like you're there, you're playing another team. It means something. You have to play like.
But we tend to overhype a big spring performance, especially if it's a guy that could factor into the following year. I'm not saying you're completely wrong. I'm just saying that's the habit of, we got some time to kill between now and fall camp. Remember what so-and-so did in the spring game? Good or bad?
Yeah, what I'm
are
saying,
you worried or are you
stupid.
excited?
Well, here's the thing. Like all of us, I think, have an idea in our head of what they could do record-wise. There is nothing in the last 6 weeks that's changed my opinion.
No.
We all in agreement here?
And that goes back to what you said last segment, Gary, and that is there haven't been any injuries.
Hasn't moved
Right.
one way.
That's the
or
only
other.
thing that would change my tune.
What
on
if you see a bunch of fumbles Saturday? Interceptions on Saturday.
the snaps are bad?
Would that knock off a win?
Well, then
Those
we can finally spin it and say, finally, the defense is taking the ball away.
There you go.
See, that's the thing. All this talk this week about, hey, we've done a pretty good job at controlling turnovers. My first thought was, well, wait a minute, that defense needs to start taking the ball away, because that's part of the equation why Nebraska's been in such a hole in the turnover margin. The defense isn't getting any takeaways either.
Come on, Tony.
Yeah, I think it's a lot more. It's a lot more positive if the offense doesn't turn. That's what I'm more concerned about. I am still mildly concerned about the defense not taking the ball away, but if the offense drops it on the ground 6 times,
Yep.
What was the spin on Sims' spring game last year? He was
that he could spin it. I can remember Sip writing about that and others. Man, he really spins it.
Sip catching strays.
Wow, I'm
I know.
I'm
But
not
he
picking on him.
He did turn it over though.
Oh yeah.
He had. Was it just
Go
one?
to your spring game.
I think he had one.
Log. Josh.
right.
Did he? I didn't think he turned it over last year.
Go to Husker, Max.
No, he definitely threw a pick.
I thought he threw a pick. Yeah.
Well, there was a pick, but I didn't think it was him.
There were so many other fumbles, and it didn't involve him that I think overshadowed.
There was 8 total fumbles.
Yeah.
6 fumbles that were lost. Sims did not. Did he throw a pick? I don't think.
No, he did not.
Okay,
Did he not?
no
Okay.
interceptions.
Okay.
Wow.
Torres threw a pick.
And Harbor.
Oh.
Richie Torres.
So out of all of those turnovers, the turnover machine himself stayed under
And he
the
caught
radar.
the snaps. It was a wild performance.
Caught 'em all.
It definitely didn't teach us anything.
That was the outlier.
Yeah.
God, if he had only dropped a couple of those snaps, we would have been we would have known what to look
We would've been
for.
a little wiser on that.
They give us a window in just a little bit.
Yeah.
What's going to happen during the season?
Yeah, because there was that first pass when he threw it to Borkacher, right?
Yes. Yeah.
About a 25-yard
And
seam.
it was a nice.
And it was,
looking
oh
pass.
man, this guy can really spin it. He's looking pretty good.
That's what you just say. All right, get him out.
Yeah.
Do the George Costanza, end on a high note, get him out of there.
I'm done.
How much into that Minnesota game did everything change for him? Was it?
I mean, the interception at the end of the first half was bad, but it really was the end of the game.
It was the end of the game
because he turns it over on back-to-back drives.
possessions.
Yeah.
So he made it 3 quarters.
Because he did have that cool touchdown on the weird bounce play.
Oh, that's right.
The ball rolled around a little bit. and then
because he
Time to
dropped
pick
the
it
ball.
off, dust it off, throw it down.
Because he dropped the ball.
Doesn't Jeff Sims have 2 of the more exciting touchdown plays in 2023? That play in the Minnesota game and then the Colorado run.
Yeah, the run against Colorado.
And that's it. This whole season.
Well, he had the fumbled snap in the Purdue game that got taken back for a touchdown. That was exciting.
That's on Purdue's highlight film.
Yes, it is.
It sure is. It sure is. All right. One more segment here on the spring game roundtable. If you guys have anything for us, send it our way. We're here at Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill at 173rd and Center. Plenty of baseball on, and
the Royals about to start.
The Royals pregame's on. They're interviewing a guy.
Go Royals.
Who is that guy?
Kevin James' brother.
It
does.
All right, we'll find out what that guy's all about.
All right. We'll break him down in our final segment.
Break him down. Come join us here at Oscar's. Back with more next on 1620 The Zone.
Now live on Twitch, YouTube, and 1620thezone.com.
When it comes to concrete repair, EverLevel has some serious game. Coach Greg McDermott here to coach you on why you should choose EverLevel Concrete Repair. They've got the fundamentals to fix your cracked and uneven concrete, and their products will give you the best defense against future damage. It's a fraction of the price compared to replacement, and their solutions come with a long-term transferable warranty. Working with EverLevel is a slam dunk. Call EverLevel Concrete Repair today for your free inspection.
You're sitting with a couple of pals at Backlot Tap House in Exarban Village when your server brings up this perfectly cooked smash burger. The smell of a juicy beef patty sends a waft of aroma right up your nose, and your eyes instinctively close because, well, awesomeness. Your friends get their orders, and you just kind of look at each other and think, yeah, this is going to be good. Backlot Tap House with 30 beers on tap, happy hour every day, trivia nights, live music, and more. Exarban Village and BacklotTapHouse.com.
It's Champions replacement window season, and we're celebrating with buy 2 windows, get 2 free. If your windows are drafty, difficult to operate, or costing you money on your energy bill, it's time to replace them. Champion Windows is here to help. Champion builds our own windows right here in the USA. We make the process easy. We help you choose the best design options for your home. We then build your project in our very own factory. Our install team manages your project every step of the way, and it's all backed by our lifetime guarantee. Turn your house into your dream home with more livable space in a new Champion sunroom, or enhance your curb appeal with new siding, now 30% off. Don't wait, this sale won't last long. Buy 2 windows, get 2 free, and 30% off sunrooms and siding. Call 877-GO-CHAMPION or visit championsavenow.com to schedule a free in-home estimate today. All discounts apply to our regular prices. Select styles apply. Minimum purchase required. Cannot be combined with other advertised offers. See store or website for details.
What I know about courage, I learned from my adoptive mom. She said sometimes you just gotta hold on and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand.
No, you hold my hand.
Here we go.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
The countdown is on for the 2024 NFL Draft, presented by Bud Light. Catch all 7 rounds, 3 days, live from Detroit. April 25th to 27th with NFL Network Draft coverage presented by Verizon. And on ABC, ESPN, ESPN Deportes, and streaming on NFL Plus. It all starts Thursday, April 25th at 8 p.m. Eastern. Visit NFL.com/draft for more information. Presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the NFL.
I get miles, a little help from my friends.
Ringo Starr and his all-star band. With friends, Steve Lukather from Toto. From Men at Work, Colin Hay. From Edgar Winter Band, Edgar Winter. From Average White Band, Hamish Stewart.
I got work to do.
September 12th, the Astro Amphitheater. On sale Friday at 10 a.m. at Ticketmaster.com.
Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's corporate cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now, get $250 when you join Ramp. Just go to ramp.com/sports. Ramp.com/sports. RAMP.com/sports.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members of FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
Email us on the Equitable inbox with whatever is on your mind. The Zone inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. You can hit me up, agree, disagree, tell me your thoughts on life at Hanley@1620thezone.com. We want to hear from you on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox.
All right, welcome back. More of the spring game roundtable here from Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill at 173rd and Center. Drop by
packed
for lunch.
Yes, it is.
It's a great lunch crowd, and you can get $7 burgers until 3.
Oh.
You put in your order. I heard pizza, so.
Yeah, big pizza guys over here.
Pizza guy.
Yeah, I heard about Nick cleaning the bones on my way in, so I
I'm
was
not
like,
going to leave any meat on those things.
Speaking of that, got a text from one of our listeners from the 803, which is South Carolina, that says, y'all are going to make fun of me, but chicken on a bone equals no good. So this is a child that's texting us, apparently, a 5-year-old.
Chicken off.
First of all,
boneless wings
yes,
is what you're saying.
Yeah.
In other words, he likes chicken nuggets.
Yeah, he likes chicken nuggets.
That's literally what we called it for my kids, was chicken on a bone.
That's wild.
When I was a kid, we called it
chicken. Yeah.
Chicken.
Always blows my mind when I hear that, when someone's like, I don't like fried chicken when the bone is in it. So I'm like, what? What are you talking about?
How do you typically have
So you
it
didn't
then?
call them chicken wings?
So you have
call it
smoked
chicken?
tenders?
No, he's talking about like fried chicken.
Yeah,
Oh,
like
fried chicken.
like if mom said we're having chicken tonight, I knew it was fried chicken.
Yeah.
Okay.
With the bone
Yes.
in.
Right. But by the
Now you
time
have to
I was
specify
a parent,
it.
we had to clarify for the boys, it's chicken on a bone.
We're going to have the bone. Just make plans accordingly for
These kids are so
because they don't like that, right? Or they
my
didn't
kids,
like-
my kids are fine with chicken on a bone.
Okay, good taste.
Smart kids.
In fact, Christian used to love it. That's why you
chicken on a bone.
Sounds like the name of a podcast.
It does. It
Welcome
does.
to Chicken on the Bone.
And this, friends, is the spring game.
That's
round.
right. That's right.
Are you excited or what?
So, I guess back to one of the previous topics we had. Nothing that has happened this spring has moved, I don't think, anybody up or down. But with that being said, just let's take stock. Where are we at right now? We're talking about the real life season now. Win totals, things around that range. Are they going to a bowl game? Are they not going to a bowl game?
They are definitely
They're
going to a bowl game.
I think we all agree there, right?
Yes.
Yes, Gary.
Yep.
All right, good. How about 7? How about 8?
I can't go more than 7.
John's like a 10-2 guy right now.
I did not say 10-2. I said a breakout is certainly possible.
Okay.
9.
All
right. Ooh.
That's 2 more than you won't go.
I'll feel
is.
safe by saying 8, but I can see 9.
I think right now I think I would predict 8.
8 feels like the consensus number at the moment, which is amazing. I love this. This is great.
For a program that hasn't been to a bowl game in 7 years.
That's right.
Yep.
But they do have. I mean,
We're idiots.
there's a lot
We
of
are huge idiots.
there's a lot of pieces for them to have a path to consistent success. There will be guys that I think this year will look better because there are better people around them. For example, I think offensive linemen that we've gone, what is wrong with you? Because they have a quarterback that's not going to hold on to the ball and do some things that when they scramble, you know where they're going.
Yeah.
We'll make offensive line better. There's wide receivers that will be better because the ball will be thrown to them properly. They're going to play a lot of guys on defense. I think by halftime of the UTEP game, they're going to have 23, 24 guys who have already played on that side of the ball. So I look at them after seeing them this spring. There's not enough where you go, man, that's a dude. Like you go and like I've heard this when people have gone to Georgia this spring. They go, geez, dude. There are more of them, but I just think they're a good football team that's going to need, some success, and then they're going to need some help from the sidelines. We talk about the players.
Yeah.
We talk about the year 2 jump. Matt Rule's got to be better in year 2 as a coach in game.
I agree.
Yep.
All of that kind of stuff. And maybe that also gives him an advantage. He's familiar with helmet communication, all of that stuff. But I think the sidelines have to be better as well. And, maybe they will with Glenn Thomas being here and able to talk to quarterbacks coming off the field on how we're handling things. I think there's more intangibles to get to 8 or 9 wins than there are, hey, they got that guy.
If you could tell me after the season what our opinion is of Glenn Thomas, I could probably give you a really good barometer on how good this year is going to be.
Yeah.
Because just having him and the experience that he has with these young quarterbacks, if he is able to just, make things, and I've been really impressed with how they have talked about both Dylan and Danny and Heinrich about how they have grasped things and how they're reading things and how they're making checks and the kind of questions that they're asking. It really sounds next level. And I realize that there's, 2 out of the 3 of them are still true freshmen. But I think part of that is having that guy there whose only job is to be their tutor. And you're not having to worry about Satterfield worrying about this, that, and the other thing. You've now got a guy here who is focused on that position, developing those guys, and you've got the natural physical abilities, especially of those 2 freshmen, that you can really play into that. I think this year it's just if you can mitigate mistakes.
Yeah.
If you can mitigate mistakes, you're already going to be ahead of the game. That's all it's going to take to be ahead of the game is mitigating mistakes.
Everything that I think of and why this year will be better than last year comes down to exactly what John just said, like just the mistakes. How much of even what Gary said, in-game coaching stuff ultimately gets tied back to quarterbacks just putting the ball on the carpet, or turning 31 turnovers last year.
Yeah, end of the Wisconsin game, end of the Maryland game.
Yes. So how much of that, what we think about the coaches currently is just tied to simple, dumb stuff that happened last year, and that not just theoretically, like will be better. First of all, by osmosis, but second of all, by talent increase.
Going to what John said, I think there's a really interesting discussion to be had of like the assistant coaches that tell the story of the season. He said, you tell me what the view is of Glenn Thomas in December, and we're going to know how the season goes. I wonder what the order of the assistants would look like in terms of tell me how we feel about Donovan Raiola at the end of the season. What would that mean for the season? Certainly Satterfield would be very high on the list. Obviously, our priors are telling us that we are big fans of Tony White and really a lot of the
Take the coordinators out, though.
Yeah.
Take the
yes, like what
coordinators
does that look like?
Okay.
Who are the coaches that tell the story
That's a
of the
great
season?
question. How far down before you insert your first defensive coach?
Seriously.
Yep.
Are you going to the 5th?
Maybe.
I mean,
I don't know, man.
Glenn Thomas, Donovan Raiola.
I think those are
1-2
for sure.
And then
would it be Garrett McGuire third?
Garrett McGuire,
yeah,
because
he's definitely there.
How deep are they in the wide receiver room? And then
how they're responding to him.
I mean,
too.
I have to throw Satterfield in here because I think tight ends are going to be a key part. I know he's a coordinator, but he's coaching tight
in terms
ends.
of his coaching.
And then Hayward a 5th. What defensive guy would you throw in first?
I don't know which guy it would be.
Rob Dvorak,
Maybe
because
Rob
you have
Dvorak
questions at linebacker.
Just because of what you're replacing there. But I think still the confidence is decently high on him. If you remember when we were here in August, and I can't remember if it was Gary who asked the question, John, it might have been you, but we were going over which coordinator had more pressure going into that season opener, and as far as which side of the ball was going to have more pressure on them. So which coordinator are we going to be talking about one way or the other? That's going to be another tell of the season. So now we get into the assistant coaches because you feel like you have more of an identity with Tony White. You know what to expect out of him. Marcus Satterfield is changing his role a little bit, but that's going to be a big part of it. This was something that I know we discussed. I know you guys have too. The chaos on the sideline every now and then. And we talked about, how Glenn Thomas can help that and basically get into quarterback in a situation that when maybe there's mismanaging of timeouts and that communication on the sideline, you have a quarterback that knows the offense and is extremely even-keeled, that he's the one who stops the bleeding in that situation. He's the guy that essentially is making the right calls on the field. So you don't have to. So it mitigates what's going on the sideline. If there is that type of chaos, that guy's like, no, I got this, because he's got that confidence. I don't think there was one person who took a snap last year that felt confident. And if the sideline was chaotic, it wasn't going to bleed into the huddle. I think if you can develop either a Dylan Raiola into that right away, and then you have that presence with Glenn Thomas, that's going to go a long way too, I think, when it does come to that sideline communication as well.
I would say that instead of Garrett McGuire, I think E.J. Barthel is higher on the list for me,
just because the questions with
the questions with the running back room, and I already had, I wasn't a huge fan of how the rotation worked last year.
You were not
in series,
I agree with that,
but because it sounds like Emmett is having a better spring, or at least he's becoming more of a focus. You wonder about how healthy Gabe's going to be, and we already talked about Dowdell. Thank you. But I think he, for me anyway, rises pretty high on that list of the assistants when I look down the line, because they're going to need a running game, and the running game is going to be very different than it was last year, because you're not going to be asking the quarterback to get that many yards.
Essentially, we just did this, and the first 5 are all offensive coaches. But there's a reason. I think the best coaches, and it's not just off of last year, the best coaches in terms of working with a coordinator, back and forth communication, then implementing and be able to teach to their players that it goes from a position group room out onto the field and into a game is on the defensive side of the ball.
So we just all agree unanimously that we're not worried about defense at all. Because I don't know that I would sign on to that. I don't.
Oh, there's always going to be concern. Yeah. I still think they need to do a better job of getting to the quarterback,
because
and turnovers.
And turnovers. But I think, but to me, if you get to B, A leads to B. Exactly.
We are all looking at the offense in the context of last year. And I just think it's so obvious because of how much of a disaster it was. It was like a train wreck last year. We're looking at it, and that's why we're looking at it so much. It's obviously going to get better. I don't know how much better. I don't know what their ceiling is on offense. It's obviously going to get better. They have better wide receivers. They have better quarterback. They have a better structure. They had the offensive line is another year along. I wonder about some of the personnel that they lost on defense, and I wonder about some of what the offense will give to them and how that will affect the defense. It doesn't make their job harder, But I mean, maybe there's a bit of pace and tempo and things that they can do that can take away from what the defense is doing. Like I said, I don't think their job is harder, but they have lost some personnel. I'm a little concerned about defensive backfield. We haven't talked about that at all.
I just think the defense.
But they have Tony White, and they had they had last year that they had, so we're all just like, it's good.
And if the defensive line is going to be good, it's like that solves a lot of problems.
But you also are not going to be on the field as much as you were last year. That's your hope.
Yes. It sets the tone, and I think they all know what to expect out of each one of those defensive coaches. From a preparation standpoint, there's that trust, there's that confidence. I don't want to say they don't have that confidence on the offensive side, but there are guys now changing roles. You bring in Glenn Thomas, so until you get into the live bullets of the situation on that side of it, I think it's still a little bit of an unknown.
Yeah, I also don't think Matt Rule would let Tony White repeat, our goal is to be the best defense in the country, if he didn't believe it.
Yeah.
Right.
He would say, man, Tony, they all have to be on the same page. So if
They're not
the
gonna be the
DC
best
sees
defense in
it
the country.
and the head coach sees it, I don't think so. But if they were exactly the same as last year, and I gave all of you guys in this room a quarterback that was at 60% completion rate and a 2-to-1 touchdown interception, and the defense was exactly the same across the board, still had some warts, but there were things they did well.
8 wins.
9, maybe 10.
At least 8 wins.
Yeah, at least 8, and probably more than that, because, I mean, they'll beat Maryland.
Yep.
They'll beat Iowa.
Beat Minnesota.
They'll beat Michigan State.
Yeah.
And Minnesota.
So there's 4. That's 9. That's 9.
They might have won the national
Just say,
championship.
And that's not pie in the sky. It's not.
If Nebraska has competent quarterback play this year, blank.
Is that what we're looking for on Saturday? Just want to see the competency.
Goes back to the fumbles that we talked about in the first segment.
It fixes
basic
everything
execution.
If the defense just stays static. Like if the defense,
you would
stays
take
static.
that. You would take that. Like obviously you want it to.
Now it is crazy to think that that's going to happen.
That's
right?
true.
Correct.
I mean, there will be, just like last year, there will be things that surprise us. There will be things on the defense that will surprise us from a negative standpoint. But what you hope is that that the offense being better, you're not in as much quick change. You're not with your backs to the wall having to defend a 30-yard field instead of a 70-yard field.
That should help.
That those things.
I think they're faster on defense, and they're better equipped this year to play in space.
Yep.
Yeah,
which will help because it actually. And you don't want to get a false sense of the schedule isn't going to give you a bunch of challenging offenses right away. Colorado will challenge you. But then when you hit Ohio State and you hit those offenses that are going to be a little bit more dynamic, you're not just, here we go. And I use the example of the Riley year where you went 7-0, were ranked and went to Wisconsin, and then you got exposed.
Yep.
Big time.
Badly.
I don't know. You could have won that game in overtime, but not the next week.
Not the next week.
Yeah, it was the next week.
It was
the following week.
That one did not go well.
Oh, this is good.
That's it. Great job.
Bye, Happer. We're going to go eat.
You guys don't seem very happy that we just
This
accomplished
was a great
something.
time.
Yeah, it's very special.
John, how about this? I got news for you.
The families don't meet very often.
What?
Diana Rossini is saying that the Rams are calling to get into the top 10.
Hey.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
Okay.
I've also seen people saying they're going to trade out of the first round.
That'd be pretty funny.
Do you know what to do tonight?
I'm going to be riveted because there's at least some drama.
Riveted.
There will be a draft pick.
I'm more interested to hear the collective screams of pain and suffering from Viking fans if they do what many Viking fans are
Everybody
afraid
thinks
they're
doing it too.
JJ, they get number 5,
especially if they trade up to
number 5.
I kind of want the Patriots
to
to just surprise everybody and take him, and then that would be hilarious.
So how many highlights of J.J. McCarthy include that game in September?
Every time I see him on the TV.
I guarantee you that first touchdown.
That stupid one.
The rollout.
That wasn't even a great throw.
Yeah, but they showed the
rollout on the back of the head.
But
then they showed the rollout.
The rollout.
That was
Yes.
great. He goes left and he throws back.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen that at least 10 times.
I see it once a day.
Husker fan, you're going to see your team tonight
Again.
in the first round.
Yeah, so
And it won't be about Joe Burrow.
No, that's true.
You know you wanted to go to Nebraska?
We finally moved past that one. Maybe we have. I don't
And
know.
that is the spring game roundtable here from Oscars. Please come out, enjoy your lunch. You guys are good. Grab some pizza.
Bye-bye.
And then we'll see you at the crossover.
See you at the crossover.
Back with more next on 1620 The Zone.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone.